Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
It's fantastic to have you. Thank you for taking the time to join us here.
Thank you for having me.
Right. I'm excited. It's the first time for Uber being on that stage. Did you know?
I think so.
Yes. So it's a premiere. Christophe, let's start with a big, quick, brief intro. So big in terms of like message, but can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, personal and professional? Who are you?
So my background, my professional background is in travel. I joined the travel industry 25 years ago when we launched a company called Agencia, which was acquired by Expedia. So Greg was not too far from that acquisition. So we launched an online travel management company. We sold our business to Expedia. I stayed a very long time at Expedia and then followed our CEO, Dara Khosrowshahi, to Uber to launch a B2B business at Uber, and that's Uber for Business.
When did you launch Uber for Business?
We launched 7 years ago. 8 years ago. It was a relaunch. And here for us, what's super important is to bring the best of the Uber platform to corporations.
Right. So what excites you most about your role with Uber for Business?
It's to build. What I like is to bring disruption to a big industry. And for me, we have built from scratch a B2B business, leveraging the power of Uber, the power of the platform, and we are building a multi-billion-dollar business globally to change the way companies deal with ground transportation.
Right, it's very exciting. Yeah. I see you like shining when you talk about it.
Always.
So, yeah. Right. So corporate mobility, is evolving rapidly with significant shifts in how businesses manage it.
Yeah.
And from your EMEA perspective, you can talk about many insights from many countries. What key trends are shaping the corporate mobility today? And how do you see this playing out in different countries? I mean, there's regional differences, probably.
Yeah, there are some differences, but what we see is a number of global trends. Mm-hmm. The first one is the consumerization of the enterprise. So basically, employees want to use solutions at work that they are using for their personal purposes, especially, and that's a push that is coming from mostly the younger generations. They are using Uber for their personal trips, and they want to use Uber for their professional trips. So consumerization of the enterprise, ease of use, choice, digitalization, that's super important for the riders, but also for the corporations, because they want to get rid of some cost and do some cost savings, transparency and cost savings. Those are the main trends that we find in EMEA, but also in the US, in LATAM, and in APAC.
Right, yeah. All right, and I mean, you touched on the digitization aspect, and then, I mean, we talk about technology here, basically.
I'm sure Greg will do a lot about that.
Yeah, well, everyone, I mean, it's a meta theme, right? We can, I mean, it's shaping so much. So how are you leveraging technology to redefine business travel and commuting with Uber? Is there a special way you approach it with the technology that you're using?
So we use the base of the software is the Uber platform, and then we are trying to cater both for the needs of the companies and the needs of the travelers. So when you look at the companies, what they are facing is an issue in terms of fragmentation of supply. So what we do is we bring them the right supply for their business travel. So it's basically strengthening and enriching our B2C platform to make sure that they have the perfect ride for their employees. Combining, for example, here in Germany, we combine the best of PHV companies and taxi supply. So that's what we are doing. So this is for the companies. Big focus on travel policy. Companies are really trying to generate cost savings, and even if they don't want to generate cost savings immediately, they do want to control their spend. So let's say like 10, 15 years ago, they really took control over air spend, hotel spend, car rental, and now they are spending a lot of focus on ground transportation.
Oh, right, interesting, right. And you mentioned the younger workforce earlier, right, when you talked about what they expect. And I mean, they're now in the corporate world, they're the driving factor. So do you see that implying change in the way companies handle business travel, and does it impact the employee experience?
I think absolutely in terms of trends and this younger generation that is coming, there are a number of themes that are super important for their employers. And companies really want to make sure that these people are comfortable within the company, that they retain the talent. And the big themes for them, it's really like sustainability. Mm-hmm. So that's a theme that we have mostly in Europe, but that's quite big. So in all the conversations that we have with our customers and prospects, sustainability is top of mind. Second is ease of use. So it has to work in an easy manner everywhere at any time, and not only when you are here in Germany, but also when you travel to the US, cross borders.
Oh, right.
Okay, so
right.
to fight against the fragmentation of supply. And the third point is really choice. Like people, companies now want to offer choice to their employees.
Right, yeah, makes sense. Yeah. And from your perspective, and you mentioned it now, the fragmentation is one of probably the challenges you see, but what is the biggest hurdles in mobility management?
The biggest hurdles is this fragmentation of supply. That's number one. And you have some people who can be super happy with their local solution, but people travel. You know, like business is about traveling, meeting with customers, with prospects, and what works in a city, in a given city, may not work outside. So the power of the Uber platform is to pull together the best supply. For example, here we have a taxi and PHV. In other markets, we have other fleet providers, etc. And you can use the app wherever you are almost in the world. So that's really fighting the fragmentation and of the supply. And second, bringing visibility and transparency. So companies can really make some savings and exert much more control on the spend and understand what's happening in the spend.
I mean, they can make better informed decisions, right?
They can make informed decisions, right? And also it can also mean that they make some savings on one side and they can give more on the other side.
Right.
For example, what we have seen is a big trend towards late night shift. Companies are paying more and more for late night shift transportation, food in the office, and that could be subsidized by the savings that are generated otherwise.
Right, all right. And I mean, as the head of Uber for business in EMEA, you get to interact, I guess, with numerous companies, very different and diverse portfolio, I'd say. So how do you see them using your services in particular?
They're using more and more.
Yeah.
So we are a very fast-growing business. And as I said before, their employees are already using Uber as a provider. So it's really bringing Uber to the world of the corporate world. So we see this where companies say, hey, it's another solution, and our employees have the choice. Some companies say, no, that's a unique solution. So, and usually it starts with like business travel, then it continues with some commute programs, some events, etc. So there are multiple use cases that we have developed, and actually what we see is really an increased usage year after year.
All right.
So we are growing very fast.
Okay. Is there companies that replace company cars with using
So you have
Uber
multiple cases. So it can be business travel. So it's me traveling from Amsterdam to Berlin to see you. I use an Uber. It's people working late at night, commuting back, going back home. And some companies are also reducing company cars. It's not the only use case, but it's one of the use cases that companies are thinking of for two reasons. There is a cost angle, to be very transparent. There is also a sustainability angle that says, hey, like when you look at it, we may have too many private cars on the road. It's better to leverage a platform.
Yeah, I was thinking about that aspect. That's very interesting,
absolutely.
right? Absolutely. Yeah, okay. And you mentioned it, the fragmentation, but we also do see fragmentation in our industry in the tech stack, right? And if you look at the corporate world, every sector has these challenges. So you say you're working with all these companies, but how are you integrating into this broader ecosystem of travel expense management and corporate services? I mean, it's also very complex, right?
So it's complex. We want to be part of this ecosystem, and we have started integrating with the main expense provider, because that's where companies get the most benefits. Day one, really simplifying the way they manage expenses. They reduce costs and they increase control. And so we are integrating with the main expense providers. In terms of booking, what we find is that travelers and EAs, executive assistants, still like to go direct, and we don't have yet a big ask to be integrated in online booking tools, etc. So it's mostly on expense, then HR databases that we have integrations. And of course, for us, the more integrated we are, the better it is for our business.
Right. I mean, I hear this since yesterday from any leader here. They're saying partnerships are key, right, and collaboration.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Is there any partnership you're very excited about? Some a new one, or one upcoming one, or one that
we have a number of partnerships. On the I will give you 2 examples.
Right.
On the tech front, we have I think a stellar partnership with SAP Concur that has worked very well for years, and we really enjoy that partnership. We are building other partnerships in the realm of expense solutions. So that's one type of partnerships. The second one for me is, and something that is close to my heart, is a big program that we have in Saudi Arabia, which is called the Wusul program, that aims at transporting women from their place of work, from their home to their place of work, and that is subsidized by the Saudi government.
Wow.
And that's something where I think we can combine both the power of the platform, and I think we are doing very good for the community in that country. So for me, that's quite rewarding.
Wow, yeah, it's a very exciting
It's exciting, and we are really trying to force ourselves to find new use cases and see how we can help the community, which is the case for the women transportation in Saudi. But we are also thinking very hard about how can we reduce the number of cars on the road. So another interesting project that we have is to work on multimodality, whereby we deliver and we help support the first mile and last mile, like from home to train stations, and then train station to work. That's what we are doing again in Saudi Arabia with the RCRC, but also that we are doing here in Germany, where when you are at the last station of the S-Bahn, you can have a fixed fare to go from the train station to home. So that's the type of partnerships that we are doing to find new use cases and interesting angles to be part of people's daily life.
Yeah, very exciting. Thank you for sharing. And give us your future vision. Paint us a picture. If you look ahead 5 to 10 years, what's your vision of the future of the corporate mobility?
I will say some things that are very basic, and I hope I will not disappoint you too much. But tech will continue to move forward. For me, that's very clear, and in an integrated manner with more and more partnerships and integration within the ecosystems. That's number one. Number two, I think we are all working on the artificial intelligence and how it can help accelerate the growth of the industry. So I think it's going very, very fast. We are working on it a lot at Uber, and I know other players are also investing a lot of money in that matter. And the last point, I think that is very important in terms of ground transportation, is autonomous vehicles. So we launched yesterday an exclusive partnership with Waymo in Austin, Texas. That's a big trend. So autonomous vehicle is a massive trend in the ground transportation industry, and that should complement public transportation, taxi, PHV, etc. So I think in 10 years' time, when we meet again, maybe not on stage, but at the cafeteria or on the floor, the picture and the landscape will be massively different.
Right. And the AV theme, right, is a massive trend, the autonomous vehicle. But the adoption is still low. When do you expect? When will we have this really?
What I see with autonomous vehicle is what we had at the beginning of the internet and what we had at the beginning of the platform players like Uber. So if I project myself 25 years back when we launched Agencia and got then part of Expedia, people were saying, why do you want to do online booking? It is so easy to book a flight, giving a call or sending a fax.
Right.
So when I said that to my team now, they don't even know what a fax is. But that existed.
No?
That existed. Same, when we launched like the Uber as a platform, it was something new. People didn't know what it was about. And when you have a disruption,
right,
it's always slow. So you see the wave. You don't really know how it's going to shape. But at some point, it happens. And the day it happens, it accelerates. And I think that's what we are going to see with autonomous vehicles.
Right.
Once it takes off, and of course there will be ups and downs and a lot of work involved, it will accelerate. And I do believe that our strategy to have multiple partners on autonomous vehicle on the Uber platform is a very strong strategy, and that's going to accelerate in the years to come.
Wow, well, I'm excited for it. I would really welcome that, right? So
Yeah,
it's also a factor of automation, right? Making our lives easier. Right, Christophe, are you up for some rapid fire questions?
Always.
Always?
Always.
Okay, well, I get the sense that you're very spontaneous. That's very good. So what's the first job you ever had?
So my first job, I was a safari guide in Tanzania.
Wow.
Ouais. So I was a welcoming tourist in a city called Arusha, going with them on safari, saying, this is a giraffe, this is a lion, this is an elephant. Yeah. It was my first job.
So you actually started in the travel industry?
I started in the travel at the very bottom of the food chain. Huh? Yeah, but that was my first job.
Wow, okay. So do you have one piece of leadership advice that you absolutely swear by?
For me, the way I see it is we operate at Uber in a world where we are super ambitious, we give stretch targets, etc. What's super important for me is respect. Great minds don't think alike, and it's respect for what people have in mind and things. So I really encourage everybody to ask their team what they think before you make a decision, and then once the decision is made, you agree to disagree, just move on.
You agree to disagree, right?
You agree to disagree.
And sometimes there's an executive decision too.
For me, that's the way we operate.
Right.
It's kind of working.
And do you have a favorite city for business travel?
I like Berlin.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, welcome to Berlin.
Yeah. I love New York.
Yes, you do? You either love or hate it, probably.
What else?
Right?
What else? I love New York. What else? I like to go to the Middle East for business travel. Dubai, obviously, but I've also discovered the charms of Riyadh. You know, when I speak to my friends, hey, Riyadh is booming, so they look at me with big eyes, and they say, Christophe, like it's time for you to retire and stop all this. No, you know, the Middle East is booming, like Saudi is investing a lot. The country is changing massively, so it's becoming very, very impressive. So I like the countries and the cities that are moving and developing.
Right. Well, I take note, and I will visit Saudi Arabia at their booth.
Yeah, good. They have a big booth here.
Yeah, they have, right. And if you had to describe Uber for Business in 3 words, what would these words be?
Passion, ambition, and customer-minded.
Right, we love that. Thank you so much. Everyone, I enjoyed this thoroughly. I hope you did as well. Please, a warm welcome to the head of Uber for Business EMEA at Uber, Christophe Peymirat. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.